Hi everyone, this is Smriti. Welcome to QA automation classes. Hope you are doing good. So in the last class we have seen right how to hit the API endpoint with the GET request and how to get the verify the response status code right as the 200, as well as we have verified if our the response is in the JSON format or not, right? That's what we did. So now today we're going to look into the post call. Okay, so how exactly the post call works, right? To the that endpoint, user post endpoint, we'll try to create a new post object by passing the parameter whatever is required, right? And we'll see, and we can do it in two ways, through the POJO classes as well as through the this one through hash map. So let's start the command prompt and let's start our JSON server first. Okay, so JSON hyphen server and then hyphen watch, then we'll say db.json. Okay, so hit enter. So now your JSON server started on port 3000. Okay, so now we can go to the one of the endpoint. Okay, so let's go to the localhost colon 3000. Okay, so open the browser, go to the localhost colon 3000 and then posts, comments, profile and errors, right? So now everything is up and running now. So if you click on the post, you can see how many posts are there, right? User posts are there. Okay, so check the pretty print to see the in a readable format. Okay, so that's also if you go to the postman and if you see, right? So no thanks. Okay, so if you go to, this is the get call. Okay, so now our interest is on the post http call or post method, right? So if you click on the create new post, you can see what are the things we're passing here. So we need three things. One is the ID, then we need the title, and we need the author. Okay, three things we need to pass. And then if you see, so depending upon this, the new object is going to get created, right? And it is going to return the 201 as the status response code, right? And we'll hit the endpoint localhost colon 3000 slash posts, right, with these values like ID, title and author, right? And now if you see, okay, so now, okay, so ID, title and author. So here ID is in the form of the string, title is in the form of the string, and author is also in the form of the string, right? So we are going to pass these three values, and we have to create the POJO classes for them. Okay, and we need to pass this ID, title and author, and then we need to verify what is coming in the response. Okay, so yeah, so the ID is also here string. Okay, so keep in mind, like, ID is also string, it's not integer value. Okay, and yeah, so now if you see, there is a create a new post. So before that, just let's open our IntelliJ IDEA and let's go and create the our feature file also for this one, right? So this is the let's see, is opening. Okay, okay, so features, let's go to the features now. Okay, and open the user post feature. Okay, so if you open it, right, okay, close. So now we have the scenario, the first scenario outlet, which is the feature, right? So you user verify the post endpoint, and scenario is the get call, right? So verify the get method call returns the proper response code and data in the JSON format, right? So that's what we did, right? So now what we need to do, if you see, we need to design a new scenario, right? We have to design it for the post call, right? So, or the post method, right? So now we can write a scenario outline over here. Okay, so let's say scenario outline. Okay, let's say scenario outline, excuse me. And here we can say we are going to verify the http post method. Okay, so let's say uh, yeah, let's say create user post. All right, so create new, yeah, user post through http post method. Okay, fine. So yeah, so this is what is our scenario outline, and we have to write our steps, right? So you can import the examples also, because scenario outline should have the examples. And now we'll be passing the data over here. Okay, so now first steps we can copy as it is. So given user says the API endpoint with resource, right? And then second line would be, what will be the second line? So here we'll be setting up the API endpoint with resource. So resource will be as the post. Okay, so now base URI plus resource will give your endpoint, right? So now when, okay, so when, what is going to happen in when? So when I'll say we have to hit the endpoint, right? So let's say okay, so when user needs to pass these values ID, title and author in the post body, we need to pass these three values. So that statement should be put as a part of the when statement, right? So let's put that. So let's say when user, okay, here's the endpoint, right? When user hits, I can say post endpoint, like endpoint with the post method. Okay, so post method, and we have to pass those parameters, right? So id, title and author, we need to pass it, right, by passing the valid. So you can say id, right, within the course angular bracket, just pass id. Okay, and uh, title, right? So again in the similar fashion we can write the title, right? So within the course angular braces we can say title. Okay, and then instead of comma we have to say and over here, sorry, it's not comma. Okay, so let's say and. Okay, and okay, in the angular braces I can say the title. Okay, so now and id, title and author, right? Three things we have to say. So id, title and author. Okay, so now pass the author also, author information also. Okay, not title, we have to pass the author information, right? So let's say we're passing the author information. So now these things we have to pass from the examples. Okay, so this is the second statement, and then after this id, title and author, all the three things we are going to pass from here, pass. Okay, so in this step, so if you okay, if you see now this when statement is for that one, and then if you see the response. Okay, so let's see what exactly is the response. If you see, the status code is 201 created, right? And in the response you can see id is 28, title is automation classes, and author is by Smriti. That is nothing but exactly what we have passed from our request body, right? So whatever we are passing from the request body, we're getting that in the response body, as well as we're getting the 201 as created. So now then put the assertion. So then, right, so now we have to assert, so we can verify the status code should be 201, right? That's what we have seen. So we can pass the status code also from the example section, that we are expecting here 201, right, in the response instead of the 200. Okay, so that's how we can verify. And if you see here, right, so id, title and author, and here in the response also if you see id, title and author, exactly whatever we are passing, the same thing we are getting in the response. Okay, apart from the status code, then we can have another like and condition we can put, right? And like api should, right, return, we can say api should return uh, created data, right, in response. You should return created data in the response. Okay, and response body with. Okay, so again we can go with those parameters like id, title and author, like whatever we have passed, with that only the the API should return the created data. The created data should return exactly those values for us, right? So now we can go to the our example section, and we can start giving these values, right? So these will be passed from the your feature file to your step definition, right? And then from step definition we have to pass it to the our actual class. So now put the resource, then pipe separated, then again we have to put the id, right? And then we need to put a pipe, then title, copy paste it. Okay, so now after title we need the author. Okay, so now put the author. Awesome. So now apart from this okay, so let's put the values for them. Okay, so resource anyhow it will be posts, right, posts, and then put it a pipe. Okay, then id. So let's see up to what id we have. I think we have up to 26 or 27. So let's go to the url. Okay, so I think 7, 21, 22, 26, 27. Okay, so 27 is the latest one. Okay, so we don't have anything from 30s. Okay, so we can start the series from 30. Okay, so we can start with something with 30. Okay, so let's say id is 30, and then title, so give a title. So so stet, right? Okay, so we can do one thing. So let's say transforming. Okay, transforming from QA to estate, right? So that looks good. Okay, transferring from QA to estate is nothing but is my title. Okay, and then we are going to give the author is Smriti. Okay, so on a pipe symbol, right? So now we are done. So if you see, we are passing id, title and author, all the things from here. Okay, and one more thing, like we can format it a little bit, right? Okay, cool. So title, yeah, I can give some space over here, and then author is Smriti, right? So yeah, so now I think we need to give the status code also. I'm forgetting status code over here. Okay, so we need to update that one also here with 201. Okay, so let's put the status code. Okay, and that is nothing but we are expecting 201. Okay, so as the status code. Awesome, fine. So everything is proper now. So if you go to the postman, you can see the status code is 201. Okay, so that's what we need to put it here also, right? So now we have to implement these steps, right? If you see, the first step is already there, third step is already there, okay, as part of the previous scenario outline, but we need to create the step definition for this two statement. Okay, so now creates the glue code for the these two statements. So this is for the first statement, user hits the endpoint with the post method, and then again create for the next one where the validation happens in the user post step definition file. Okay, so now these two glue code methods also got created in the step definition, right? And then what we need to do, so from step definition we have to call the API class, right? And in API class we have to write the actual code, but before that I told you we are going to use the POJO classes, right, to construct the request body, right? So how those ID, title, and author, right, how they are going to be passed. So we are going to use the request POJO class for that one. Okay, so we will create a simple POJO class, and in the POJO classes we'll write those parameters like ID, title, and author. Those are like key value pairs for that object. Okay, so now what we are going to do, so here if you see, we have to create that object, right? So that is nothing but called as the POJO classes. Okay, so POJO, POJO classes. Okay, so plain old Java object. Okay, that is nothing but the POJO, plain old Java object. So now let's go to the POJO classes directory, and there right click new. Okay, and then Java class, and here you give the name, meaningful name, right? Since we are creating for the user post, right? So you can say user posts POJO. Okay, user posts POJO. So now POJO. Okay, user posts POJO. Okay, so give some meaningful name, and we can say, okay, user post, we can give POJO, like, because API class also you are having user post, otherwise it will create confusion, right? So user post POJO, and here we need to define all those keys, right? So whatever the keys are there, so you can define that ID, title, and author. So how to define? So you can say they all will be our private data members. Okay, so we can tell them like private and string, right? Because ID is also string, and title is also string, and author is also string, right? So everything is string. So now what I need to do, I can go ahead and I can define all those three variables as the private entities, a private data member. Okay, and then I can have the getters and setters for them. Okay, so now let's open the IntelliJ, go to the user POJO class, user post POJO class, and then we'll just put them as the data members, right? So let's say private. Okay, so let's say private string. Okay, so first we'll start with the ID. Okay, and then private string title. Okay, private string title, and then private string ID, title, and author, right? So private string author, private string author. Okay, so now we have three things. Okay, string, ID, title, and author. Let's go to the code, right? And let's say generate. Okay, so now we can have the getters and setters. Okay, so click on that one and select all three of them. Okay, and click on OK. So now if you see, we are having first getter and then the setter, get ID, set ID. Similarly, get title, set title, right? And similarly we have set what is that, get author and set author. So these getters and setters, why we need, right? So setters is used to set that particular value through the object. Okay, and getter is used to get those values, right? So because these are all private data members, if you want to access any one of his property or data member, you cannot access them outside the class. So in that case, what we can do, we can go with the getters, right? So we can go with the getters, but here in POJO, if you see, we have to set it, and then we just need to pass the request body. You can have the setters so that it will be helpful if any at any point you are going to use it. Okay, so let's go to the API class, user post class. We can define those two methods now, right? Those are two unimplemented methods. Okay, so yeah, so let's go and see that unimplemented methods. We can go to our feature file. Okay, and the first one is user says the API endpoint with the resource that is already been taken care of with the first scenario outline. Okay, so second one, user hits the endpoint with the post method by passing the valid ID, title, author. For this we need to have a concrete implementation, and even for the post step we need to have the line number 15, we need to have a concrete step implementation. So let's say here we'll say public. Okay, so let's say public void, right? So we're not returning anything from here, so we can define a method like public. Okay, then void, and I can say hit endpoint. Okay, so hit endpoint with okay, so post http method, right? So that is the method call we are going to have. So post http method, okay. So okay, fine. So let's say post http method, okay. So post http method or http post method we can say, okay. Http post method, okay. Awesome. And here okay, so here in order to hit the http post method, so what we need the endpoint, right? And we need those values. Which values? That id, name, id, title and author. So define them. So string id, then string title, and then string author, okay. So from where these values are coming, guys? So these values are nothing but coming from your feature file, right? And then from feature file it goes to the glue code. From glue code to the method call, it comes here, okay. That's how the flow happens. So whatever you are passing from the feature file, that is being captured through the glue code, and from the glue code it is being passed to the your API class respective corresponding method, okay. So now everything is present here, right? So if you see, these things will go from the, again I'm saying, like, it will go from the feature file to your glue code, and from the glue code to it will come here. Since we have not designed the glue code, when we design the glue code and call this, you can see that statement, right? So now what exactly we're going to do here, right? So now if you see, we have to create the object of the user post, right? User post POJO, okay. So give the object name, right? So user post POJO, I think user post POJO equals to new, right? User post POJO, but you can give some meaningful name. That's what I'm thinking, okay. So let's see. So user post POJO. So now what we can do, so instead of user post POJO, it will go as a request body, http request body. So how to go as a http request body? So we can say http, we can say post body or something, right? So let's say post request body, okay. So it should go as a post request body, okay. So now okay, so with this post request body, we have to pass this post request body through the post call, okay. So first, before that, we have to set, right? So first set id, string id. So what we have to pass, whatever the id we are getting over here, okay. Similarly, post request body dot again we have to do the set title, and then we have to do the set author. So three things we have to do, right? So post request body dot set title, right? So in the title we can pass the title, whatever we are capturing from the method, right? So copy and paste it over here. And similarly, we need post request body, right? So post request body dot set, and here we have to say author, and we have to pass the author over here, okay. So okay, so these things are done. So now we can give in any sequence, okay. The sequence doesn't matter over here, okay. So we can give it in the any sequence. So now if you see, okay, so these three things we have already kept over here, right? And now we have to hit the endpoint, right? So we have to hit the endpoint. So given, right, dot log, okay. So we can log everything on the console, and so that's why we have to specify all, okay. So given dot log dot all, then after that we'll say okay, so we are logging everything, and then we have to say when, okay. So give the when condition dot content type we have to give, right? So what kind of the content we're passing? We're just basically passing a JSON, right? So content type, right? So content type, inside that, right, content type dot JSON, right? So now our content type is JSON, right, of type JSON. So you say content type dot JSON, okay. And now, okay, so dot, right? So now we have to hit, right? We have to pass that request body, right? So how to pass the body? So we have a method called as the body, okay. So in the body we have to pass that value. So what value we are passing here? We are passing the post request body, right? That object contains all the things, right? It has reference to id, title and author, everything, right? So post request body, then dot, okay. So we have to use the post method, right? So let's say post, okay, dot post, and in the post method we have to give the endpoint, right? So endpoint, if you see, endpoint is nothing but your base URL, URI plus what is that, your endpoint, whatever you have given, right? Base URI plus resource, whatever resource you have given. So endpoint is already getting constructed in the first step, right, given condition, okay. So and we can put this base URI part and endpoint construction part into the reusable components, okay. So we can do that later. So in the post, just pass the endpoint, okay. So now, okay, so that's all to this session, guys. In the next session we'll see how to do the assertions and the validations, okay. Thank you. So that's all to this session, guys. If you guys are really enjoying my sessions, I'll request you to subscribe to my channel and please share them with your friends and colleagues so that they can also get benefited out of it. And if you have any questions, just put them in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if you are really enjoying this session, please like the content, okay? And please do subscribe to my channel and stay tuned to Q automation classes for more exciting cool playlist, right? We have already completed a lot of cool playlist. Also there are upcoming playlists are there, so stay tuned to Q automation classes, guys. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.